Welcome to Relatable Artist Podcast. On today's episode, talent versus skill. So here's your relatable quote for today. You're so talented.
I mean, have you seen your stuff? You're so talented.
And that's probably the worst thing you could tell me, or any artist. I'm not talented.
We are not born with the ability to draw. And yet, there's a common misconception among people that view artists as someone who are born with certain special traits that they never earned, and hence are considered to be talented. This is why most people feel a sort of stigma when they observe talented folks. Let me define talent for you. It's like a parasite with very short lifespan. Early on, talent will outperform talentless. Like every other parasitic organism, it cannot act on its own. It needs some sort of human host to survive. But unlike other parasite which takes something from the host, the talent gives, though its main motive is its own survival. For example, a kid in elementary school is really good in with like addition and subtraction. Will probably think, meh, I don't need to practice anything. I'm already so good in maths. So doing geometry and trigonometry is a piece of cake to me. But as we all know how different the reality is.
It's almost like when you're a kid, you're only doing all the easy stuff. Like you said, you're doing subtraction and addition. And of course that comes
Like
easy.
even like when I was young,
But then you move to hard stuff. And
when I was young, I got like pretty good grades. And then I felt like I don't need to do all the practice and stuff. I can just nail every single exam. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
So it kind
really.
of hit me,
And I guess
it did kind of hit me pretty hard.
same. I guess that's how talent works like too. I totally relate to that. Like I was a genius kid in school. You know, everything came easy, including art.
Okay.
So then you don't work for it. And then you get in your 20s and you actually have to put work for the stuff you want to do. And it's like, what? I'm not used to this.
So basically, talent feeds on your ego and makes you like not really focus on the subject, but the small ego boost you're getting from it.
What do you mean by ego?
For example, like you did some sort of sum or question your teacher gave you on the blackboard, and then you solve it, and then people appreciate you, and you're like, yeah, I'm so good. That's kind of ego.
Oh yeah, yeah, like when the teacher sets like a prize for the first one to solve it, and then you're the first one and you get the prize. You know, have you seen the trend going on around Instagram recently with the I Live for the Applause song?
Wait, what?
And yeah, there's this trend for artists going on around on Instagram, from what I've seen at least, where you like share your art, like a couple of sketches or whatever, and basically you admit that you live for the applause, and it's with this Lady Gaga song, I think. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. You live for the ego.
Like maybe some people need it.
It is so much true. I don't really like this trend though. Like, why are we promoting this? We're doing a whole podcast to like move away from the ego of talent, and then there's this trend who's like advertising
like putting you on the top, I guess.
Yeah. No, not
Yeah,
good.
not good. So I guess the whole point of whole motto of talent is why put in the work when you don't have to.
This reminds me of high school. So I did a high school of arts, and it was still the time when, like you said, I was a talented kid and art still came easy to me. But then I got this really strict teacher that would push a lot from us. And to be honest, it wasn't up until maybe 2 years ago. For reference, I finished high school like 4 years ago, that I realized that he was pushing for work from me for a reason, and I was only relying on talent. Didn't go well.
Have you seen Whiplash?
Not sure I have.
It's kind of the plot of the movie is kind of same. Like there's a teacher who is like a music teacher, a really great music teacher. He pushes his student to do better. At certain point of time, he pushes him but too much and something breaks and then shit happens.
That's so relatable. I should watch this movie for real because it
Like
did
like
happen to me.
it's a
Like,
pretty
I
famous movie.
is
Whiplash.
it?
Like add
How
it to your watch list, I guess.
okay, actually, I'm just writing it
Oh
down now.
shit.
Yeah. No, it's so relatable. It did happen. Like I said, I was so used to getting art easy and relying on the talent and everything. I got into second year and it wasn't really working for me anymore. No, third year. Yeah, and it wasn't really working for me anymore. And just like you said, everything broke. I broke. That year was my worst year of art ever. Like, I went downwards.
Started from the bottom. We are still here.
This this reminds me of something really on the
Okay.
topic. So in this year where my art skills went down because yeah, I was pretty depressed, not gonna lie. Um, but that made me not put in the work because it was when I had to face reality. It was like, and I couldn't. My talent wasn't enough. Because I wasn't doing anything great, I wasn't having the motivation to do anything more. So no improvement. I kept going downwards and downwards. And in the meantime, my classmates were still progressing, still drawing, still working, still going at it.
It's a really shitty feeling too.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I know.
You see where I'm going with it?
Like my brother, he was 3 years older than me. Like he was the head boy of our school. He was good
Yeah.
at his studies. He was good in playing guitar, like music and sports. And then when people look at me from his lens, so it kind of felt to me like I have to stand up to the same degree. And when I failed, it really felt shitty. Like every time, because the thing was, I
But
wasn't looking at how much work he's putting in. I was only looking at how much like people are appreciating him. So I guess that was my fault of some sort.
yeah,
But like eventually you learn, I guess,
yeah.
after falling.
And you wish you could be doing it, but I guess this like toxic comparison makes you only look at the results. You don't look at the hard work and you get demotivated. That's what happened to me. Yeah. Um they got better though. I remember there was this specific guy in my class who wasn't so talented, right? And in terms of talent or whatsoever, I would consider myself over him at the beginning of the year. That sounds so egotistical, not gonna lie. But yeah, I thought I was better than him. But then, like I said, I fell into this breakdown. And by the end of the year, he got better than me. Why? Because he worked a lot. He would draw every day, do studies, all the good stuff. And I went down and he went up because of his work, and I stayed down because of, well, freaking talent, no?
I guess you need to learn to have some sort of passion for the subject. Because like in earlier days, I didn't focus on much fundamentals. I only did like these small doodles and like every single day. And eventually I got like really good at it. So it kind of opened a sort of Pandora's box for me. At certain point, I felt like doing only doodles doesn't worth it. So I need to learn more. So I started learning fundamentals and stuff. And then here I am. I'm not saying like I'm good, like good enough, like what I want to be.
Yeah.
Because there's a long way to go, I think. But looking back at what I used to do, I think I'm much better.
For
I
sure,
put in
for
the work,
sure.
like
Yeah.
I
But I
put in the work
guess,
in COVID days, like prime of my learning. I think at that time I learned a
yeah.
lot. Like first began with like developing passion for it by drawing doodles, and then learning fundamentals. So it kind of helped me do it step by step.
This is really inspirational for me to hear because I was at the opposite end. I love how you started doing this from passion, really from passion. because honestly, before recently, when I kind of found or refound my passion for art again, before that, I think last time when I truly found pleasure in doing art was when I was like, what, 14? And that's just so sad to hear, because I just started art school so early on and I got into fundamentals and all the, well, boring for a kid stuff, good stuff, but boring for a kid. So early. I lost passion so early, and like I said, everything kept going downwards, and then it's like I wish I was in your place earlier. It's like you were in that place at the right time, or at least that's how I see it. Maybe it's because you have what I
I don't
didn't.
think I was at the right time. Like, whatever skills I developed was in COVID period. Like, although I don't think when I started drawing, it was for like passion or anything. It was for like getting into an art school. In India, we have like a
Oh,
National
really?
Institute of Design. So I gave its exam like 2 times, and first time I couldn't pass the prelims, and second time I failed the
Yeah.
mains. So I end up doing statistics honors, and here I am
Oh,
doing portraits every single day.
yeah, but at least you gave yourself the freedom of choice. Like this gave yourself the freedom of choice. The fact that you didn't get in there.
Yeah. Also, do you know why like the thought of going into an art school? So my
How did it
my
go? Yeah.
brother was in a National Institute of Design.
No.
And I felt I
So like I gotta do
yeah I want
it.
to that's pretty cool. You get a laptop and everything. Like I used to play a lot of games, so I was like, oh yeah, I get a laptop and everything. I will play games and stuff. That will be pretty fun. Like probably somehow manage subjects somehow, get possible marks, get through the semester and play games all day. At that point of time, the ideal scenario of my future was to be able to play games every single day. Like I felt pretty young.
Okay, so your motivation for drawing was basically so you can get into this school, so you can get a nice laptop, so you can play games. That's
Yeah,
nice.
that's about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, then
Fair
eventually,
enough.
like I got really into it to a point where my brother told me, "You're better than me." I was like, "No, that doesn't supposed to happen. Like you went to like proper art school, and I'm like just drawing it on my sketchbook. That's not how it's supposed to be." I was like, "Fuck, huh? Am I good?"
How did that affect you? Like, did it really feel your ego, or you actually disregard it completely? Like,
I don't make you
how did
feel.
that make you
Huh.
feel?
It kind of felt. I think it kind of. And actually, I never thought about it.
Right? Because we want so bad the validation of others, and then when we get it, we're like, that's bullshit. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm not that good,
But
you know?
after that, I end up not going to National Institute of Design. So,
Yeah.
like, I still had the chance to fill my application, like, to do masters. Like, if you have a 3 years bachelor's in any subject, you're still allowed to do a master's in design. That's their rules. Given that you have to clear a qualification test. So that's the thing. But
Okay.
I didn't really submitted any sort of form for it. So I felt, meh, I'll build my own stuff. Like if someone from the same school can tell me that you're better than me, then what's the point of going? I felt kind of like that. I felt there's no point going to art school after I've learned so much, and you can learn so much for free.
And I totally agree with that. And I'm the person who went to art school all my life. Jesus. I was like 12 or 13 when I got into
Wait,
art
what?
school.
You
And
have
I'm still
you have
in
art
uni.
school in
Yeah.
12th, to age of 12?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I was in sixth grade. I was 12, and then in seventh grade I moved to art school. So yeah, I was 13.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
And
Teach them
here
young,
I
I
am.
guess.
Now I'm doing all this stuff by myself, you know? Going back to what you were saying, to the doodles and even to the games, right? You were passionate about playing games. And my point here is you were passionate about something, and that was the thing that was driving you to draw those doodles. So eventually you could get into the school, even though you didn't in the end. It doesn't matter. Thing is, you were passionate about this thing, and I really want to point out how I think that talent is actually a word that's misused, and what we're actually referring to is passion. Like, I feel like people call passion talent for some reason, and it's the wrong way of looking at it, because like you said, talent is something that's like given by the gods or whatever. Passion is what drives you.
Okay. I agree. But there's also like
Yeah.
skill part. You have to put in the work to get where you want. Example like walking, swimming, or writing can be considered as a skill, but you're not born knowing how to do it. You work on it and eventually get good at it. That's how skill is very different from talent. Like, it's a great way to sculpt your character as they play a large role in defining who you are. Unlike talent that dictates us from the start, skill covers the ground that talent skips.
I feel like passion and skill really go hand in hand, because like the skills you mentioned, like swimming or I don't know, like reading, whatever. Everyone can learn to do it, like to a certain degree. Everyone can draw a stickman, for example, or everyone can like read a page from a book. But then, depending on how passionate you are about that thing, it's going to give you how good you're gonna be at it. So you might be able to swim, but you're not a professional swimmer. You might be able to write a couple sentences, but you are not a book writer. And well, yeah, I guess they really go hand
I
in
guess
hand.
first you need to start developing passion for it. When you have enough passion, you put in the work, get the skills, and there you go, you're a brilliant artist now. That's the roadmap I set for every single artist. Get the passion, then the skill, and you are a really good artist now.
Yeah, this could be like the rule of thirds. No, but for real, I relate to this a lot. Obviously, relatable artist, of course, I relate to this a lot. Um, like, you're gonna have to tell me how this went for you, but for me, I feel like passion and skill really went sideways, because I feel like I developed a pretty good skill. Okay, skill. When I got out of my I'm so talented phase, I actually worked on my skill quite a lot. I studied the stuff, the fundamentals, all the good stuff, and I feel like I got pretty skilled at it for my age at the time or whatever. But in the meantime, I completely lost passion. When I got into uni, yeah, about my last year of high school, first year of uni, I was completely lost. I felt like I was really good in what I was doing. Like, I really trusted my skills. I knew that I could, well, I could physically do whatever drawing I want to do, but then the ideas were not there. I had like nothing to drive me. No, I wasn't passionate about anything. So I would just like pull up a random reference and just copy it, and well, that wasn't really fulfilling. And it went like that for a while. So I guess, yeah, you really have to make a balance between the two, don't you?
I agree, I agree. Like a way I developed passion for it. I liked hip hop music and I like to draw. So I needed to find some sort of way to connect these things. Also, I was in college, I was like in a film and photography society. So I also like to do like small films, like short films, etc. etc. So there's an artist called Gox Art. Like he do combination of all three. Like you can check him on YouTube. Like he's really good. Like Sony gave him sponsorship to promote their cameras. He's that good. Like
just look into it. If you check his Instagram, like all the way to end, like you can see his doodles that he used to do when he was young. The last drawing he did, so good. It was very inspiring to me. It when I looked at him, I felt, yeah, I can start from here. I have something to start. I just need to put in the work. So it kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to hear that once again, you know, because I felt like I didn't have that. It's it's a bit stupid, but yeah, here's
Yeah, eventually, like you need to question yourself what you like. Because you see, art is eventually about how you express the stuff, what you like, what you can speak. So it's more about you. You must learn how to focus on yourself and what you can put out there.
yeah, I guess so. When um when I got into uni and I had to face all this stuff, this is kind of how it went. I would look at my colleagues' drawings, and I would be really critical of them because I tend to be really critical of myself. Of course, I would still show support and everything, supporting all artists, obviously. But in my mind, I would look at them and I would see all the flaws, and I would think only through the technical side of things because that's all I ever did until that point. And I'd be like, okay, this doesn't have the right an anatomy. This is missing contrast. This is blah blah blah, and I would see myself as like
Over
above them in
analytical, I
terms.
guess.
Yeah, exactly.
In your initial phase, after you learn stuff, like for example, when after I learned how to draw heads, I did a class
Yeah.
from Marco Bucci. You can check him out on Instagram. He's a really good artist and a teacher. He's a really good teacher. You
Yeah.
can check him out. So
Yeah.
after I did his course on head study and portraiture, I went so analytical. Like every single, like I could see different. And when you do, like it kind of enhances what you see and what you say. That's how it
Yeah.
begins. So I think it's pretty normal for you to do that. It's all right. Like I think every single
Yeah.
artist in his initial phase, his or her initial phase, kind of go through it.
Yeah, the whole work definitely paid off, and I could see mistakes in my work and in others' work better. That's a good thing, but the bad thing about it is that when I tried to do it myself, maybe I wouldn't do those mistakes, but I wouldn't even be able to come out with the ideas that they were having. Like, this is what impressed me. I had colleagues that they've never been to art school, so they were missing that skills part, but they were extremely passionate about what they were doing, and that was making them work all the time as well. And they were coming out with these amazing ideas that maybe they were not executed perfectly, and I would always think, my god, I could execute this so much better because blah blah blah, I'm skilled. But then when I tried to do it myself, I couldn't even come up with the idea because I didn't have the passion. So definitely you gotta have both. You cannot be passionate about something because then when you want to execute, it's gonna come out warped and skewed and not looking really good. But you cannot do what I did and only focus on the skill and be able to copy anything but actually not come up with anything by yourself.
But in the initial stages, you should be like, for me, it was like as long as you draw with confidence, you can draw anything. That was my whole motto of drawing doodles. Like
But that's a good mindset, isn't it?
as long as you draw with confidence, you can draw anything and you can make anything look good. That is the mindset you need.
You should see my face now. I'm like nodding my head, like listening to these wise words. Because really,
Let's address the problems here.
how I see them is that, well, there are problems about all three things we talked about. So you've got problems with talent and with skill and with passion. Now, what would be like the main problem for each one of them?
Talent, I think, In starting, it's a good thing. Like when you do something, people also like push you to do it more. So in the beginning, it's good, but if you let it to become a parasite on you, it can be really harmful.
So don't stick with just talent. Try to turn it into passion and not ego.
Talent can go two ways, either passion or your ego, and you don't want to go to the ego side.
No. So yeah, talent is not ego. Let's keep that in mind. Um the problem with skill and passion.
You need passion to learn skill. For example, I want to play football. Okay, so to have a passion for it, I should like probably watch a lot of football and then learn about ball players like famous player. You might have heard Ronaldo, Messi, and all. And then you kind of start developing some sort of passion for it. And after that, you go and play. And slowly, you eventually get better at it. And then you start learning more about it and put in the work and develop your skills. That's how you will become a better player.
That's pretty much the problem. We focus too much on talent and overlook skill and passion. Because yeah, you might be born with some kind of inclination, let's call it, for something. And that's not gonna go anywhere if you don't look into it, if you don't work for it, so skill, and if you don't nurture your passion for it, so like watch football games. Yeah.
So, what are the three things you should have in mind?
I would say if you were to remember something from this podcast, remember that you are not talented, you're passionate.
Exactly. So, talent drives ego, passion drives skills. But only passion and work will get you better and make you a better artist.
Exactly. Exactly. So, therefore, you're not talented, you're passionate. You're also not talented, you are learning a skill. Yeah, one last thing. Remember that talent is your enemy, is the ego you want to avoid. Don't work for your ego, work for yourself. And passion and skill are your friends. Work on your craft, and nurture your passion and your interests. Take care of your artistic self.
Like, talent is not enough to guarantee success. Many talented artists have failed to achieve success because they did not put in the work. Only the successful artists put in the work and they are where they are. Like, Ross and Sam Desert.
Exactly. These people draw like in their sleep, if you know what I mean. Like all the time. You have to do it all the time and you have to be crazy passionate about it. It doesn't have to be a chore. It's not like you sit at the desk and it's like, oh, I have to draw again. No, it's gotta be like, yay, I've got this new project in mind and I wanna work on it, like develop this excitement and for your craft. Yeah. So there's that. So to wrap things up for today's episode, talent versus skill of our Relatable Artist podcast, it was a pleasure doing this and see you in the next episode.